It's that time of year, Christmas, which means the shipping season is coming to an end, sadly. And hello and welcome back to another video. I've not seen you for a while, so how have you been doing? You're all looking pretty good, by the way. Anyway, I'm back in Port Colborne to get another ship for you. Before I do that, I just want to say my apologies for not having any videos out recently. I've been tied up with work and a few other things, and I actually did try coming down to the canal a few times, but on the days where I was free to do stuff, some of the vessels I've already captured this year, and I didn't want to capture them in the same light or the same situation, so I didn't bother coming down. And another time the weather was really poor, and there's nothing worse than filming on a grey, bleak, rainy day. All right, so you either want to be out here on a nice day or a really stormy day. So anyway, today's a nice day. So I'm down here now in Port Colborne. We've got a couple of fishing trawlers here.
When's the bridge going up?
It's going up very shortly. Well, I'll get interrupted while I'm doing a little broadcast here. Got a couple of fishing vessels here in the harbour right now. The lift bridge should be going up momentarily, and then we'll get some shots of the Federal NAGARA as it comes into Port Colborne. I was going to put the drone up, and I'll show you why I'm not going to now. It's a little windier than what I actually anticipated. So this is the Lindsay Lenore fishing vessel next to me, and you can tell by the flag. Oh, now I turn it around, the flag just stopped. Isn't that typical? Oh, there we go. It's a little breezy, and just over there you can see the top over the salt blowing. So it's quite a strong breeze here right now. So I'm not going to put the drone up for safety reasons. And over there in the distance, the vessel being scrapped, which is sad. Anyway, Christmas is upon us. This is the pie guys here in Port Colborne. I know I got a Tim Hortons. I got it on the way in, sorry. But usually when I'm here filming, especially when I'm here on the Sea-Doo, I'm more up and I always go in there and grab coffee and one of those apple Danish things, which are really, really good. But I'm trying to watch my weight right now, so I'll just stick to this coffee for now. But anyway, try Pie Guys out if you're ever down here in Port Colborne. It's a great location, especially for grabbing a bite to eat and watching the ships go by. So anyway, let's walk up here, and very shortly, oh, hang on, their Christmas decorations look good, eh? So very shortly, NAGARA, Federal NAGARA, actually, I can just see it now making its way in. So Federal NAGARA is now past the piers and making its way in here into Port Colborne. So what I'm going to do is actually walk along the waterfront here, the canal front, alongside the Federal NAGARA as she comes in. You see the sun just reflecting on the crane, the glass up there, as we make our way up to the bridge. It's actually a very peaceful afternoon here in Port Colborne today. Now this vessel's on its way to Montreal before heading out onto the Atlantic. Now I'm going to presume, I don't know what it's carrying, but I'm going to presume it's carrying wheat or grain or something, or even possibly potash at this time of year. A lot of them are carrying stuff like that and heading and taking it all off over to Europe. So Nagara measures in at 200 meters in length, 656 feet, and it has a beam of 78 feet, which is, I don't know, 23 meters? So to put it into perspective, 78 feet wide is the equivalent of 6 lanes on a highway. The only difference is that's not stuck in traffic. All right, I made it up to lock number 8. As the Federal Nagara makes its way in, it's actually still quite breezy up here. I did think about getting the drone up, but it's picked up here as well, so it's not as protected as I want. So just shots from here today. All right, so just while we wait for Nagara to come a bit closer, I'm just going to tell you a bit about lock 8, because it's a little bit different than the other locks. This particular lock is a regulating lock. The vertical change of the water level on lock 8 is actually quite minimal. It's between 0.3 meters and 1.2 meters, which is about 1 to 4 feet. And the depth of the water over the sill, which is the bottom of the canal here, is about 9.1 meters, or if you're an American, it's 30 feet. So lock 8 is actually the longest in length as well. It measures in at 1,148 feet, which is 349 meters. Basically, it's large enough for a small airplane to land on it. That is if it was paved. Federal Nagara, built in Nagasaki in Japan at the Yoshima shipyard. Now I think that is probably where its name came from as well, even though it might sound a bit Canadian, Nagara, but Nagara is actually a Japanese river. And I couldn't find much on the internet, but a couple of sites did point me to the fact they think it is named after the Japanese river Nagara. And it would make sense. FedNav has a tendency to name its vessels after cities and places of interest. And with the ship being built in Japan, why not name it after this fantastic river, which is meant to represent crystal clear waters and an abundance of cormorant fishing. It's kind of like a bull getting ready to charge at me. That's what it kind of feels like anyway. Anyway, I'm going to get off the bridge because the alarm's going to go off, and I've just found out why it's being held up. Because there's a McKeel behind me. Still waiting for this vessel to make its way out of Lock 8. And it's getting dark. I've never done a video in the dark yet. It's currently 9 degrees down here in Port Colborne. Quite mild for the end of November. We've had a few cold days, but it's finally gone mild. It's 4:15, and the sun sets in 34 minutes. And if that vessel's not out there, I hope to turn the lights on and give me some light, and we'll see how this camera acts in the dark. So any second now. There we go. Now I hope these settings work. While I was waiting, I was playing around with the settings on the camera because we're now into low light. And I've had to change the frame rate and also the shutter speed. So hopefully it works. All right, there you go. Lift bridge is up. Now we wait for Nagara to come through. And there she is. It always looks better up against a building. Gives you a better scale of the perspective of the size of the ship. It's just weird seeing it by like a concrete building like that. I'm going to presume those markings on the bow are caused by the lines. Maybe the chain of the anchor. Definitely look like whip marks anyway. So this beast can haul over 34,000 tons of cargo, and it's spread across its 6 holds. And it uses, what you can see there, those 4 massive 35-ton cranes to load and unload just about anywhere they can get this ship into. I love watching those videos on YouTube of these kind of ships, basically any of these ships really, the bulk carriers out in the Atlantic or the North Sea, where it's really rough weather for them and they just roll around. And it's just amazing to see. Well, it looks like it's got grain. I can see grain all over that. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but was that grain we can see? Corn. Actually, it's corn. That looks like corn. It's kind of like a yellowy colour. It's gone quiet, but shortly we'll hear the back of the stern of the ship and the engine. That clicking noise you can hear is the barriers, the flashing lights. I know, it's annoying. Okay, it's picking up speed. Definitely see an increase in speed as it pushes its way out here of Lock 8 and finally into the Welland Canal. So it took over an hour from when I first started walking down with it in Port Colborne for it to come out of here. well over an hour and a half, I think. And the traffic behind me, and people are probably staring at me going, what's that idiot doing? Of course, it's rush hour here on a Friday evening. Don't know why it's called the city here. City of Port Colborne. To me, cities are big places. This is just a town, small town. I guess you can get called a city for any reason these days. All right, here we go. Let's look at the bridge. The radars. The crew on the starboard side there, looking down against the wall, looking against the wall in the bridge. Just over there. Now, if you saw my last video on the Welland Canal, it was of Federal New York, which has the massive smokestack at the back, one of the newer vessels, and it has that huge stack. Oh, this one is one of the slightly older, 2018, so it doesn't come with the modernized stack and all the latest technology for cleaner fuel. And but it's impressive to see that video, by the way. If you want to look at it, it's the Federal New York. I'll put a link in the description. You want to check it out, and it tells you all about why that funnel, that chimney stack, is so big. Red light on, port side. Best way to remember it is port, wine, red. So red, left, port. It's the easiest way, that's why I remember it anyway. Very quiet. It's actually a fisheries vessel that's coming down, cargo vessel. Coast Guard vessel, I meant cargo. Coast Guard. Those sandbags up there? I'll put an arrow on it. Look like sandbags. Interesting. Weights, maybe? For weights? Looks like it's going to pull in against the wall here because the crew are getting the ropes ready. And of course I don't have my scanner on me today because my phone's flat. Alright, there you have it, the Federal NAGARA. Probably entering the Welland Canal for the last time this season. Alright, that is it for this particular video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, please make sure you like and subscribe. I'll be back very shortly with some more videos. Try and get as many as we can in the can to get us through the winter. Because of course, it's going to be a long winter as always, and the canal shuts in about 7 weeks, I think it is. We've got the whole of December, and it's January the 10th, I believe. It's done. So the mad rush will start very soon as the salties will be making their way in and out for the last time.